Talk about that moment when those emotions and that reality of health issues in wealth management starts to intersect and where
Yep.
your expertise comes into play. Let's talk about that for folks.
Sure. And I mean, Leo, we've talked about your family story and mine. We certainly, Beth and I, my wife had personal caregiving where you learn lessons that, living through it, you really can't find somewhere else. I think that it's jumping off of those personal experiences. It makes sort of this next point that I'm making a little bit more accessible. The things that used to be most important to you, most important to a family, your mom, your dad, my in-laws, for example, when there's a change in health, when there's a change in ability, when there might be more of a sense of vulnerability or change in family roles, what I think for both financial advisors and senior Americans have a hard time anticipating is priorities change, and they sometimes change in ways that we're not always currently aware of. So, like imagine, I had a client. Her name was Tanya. Her husband had dementia and was an accountant. And their most important thing was to hand off his CPA business to one of their children and to simultaneously have a well funded retirement with a lot of travel. When he started exhibiting symptoms of dementia, their most important things changed dramatically. It turned out that there were a number of financial decisions that they had made along the way that were impacted by the disease itself, and they were in a lot more financially vulnerable of a situation than they ever thought. So the priority went from transition to business and finance of retirement to playing defense and how are we going to be able to afford stuff. Then they changed a few more times as well. For this particular family, it then turned into I want to be taken care of at home no matter what. I never want to go anywhere else. But maybe that wasn't clinically appropriate. Maybe that wasn't someplace where her husband could feel safe. And then the new priority was we want to stay together no matter what. And then a priority after that was really okay, past a certain point with the progression of the disease, we really need to manage a thoughtful, a well intentioned, a dignified dying process. And when I say the most important things, here's sort of the takeaway, Leo. When I say the most important things, it didn't matter how much it cost. When we want to stay home no matter what, it was not a financial decision. It was a life, family, marital decision. And what I've learned as a financial advisor is when there's shifts, a lot of time driven by changes in health circumstances, imagine that it trumps a lot of the goals that financial advisors like myself had previously been pointing all of the investment strategy and tax strategy towards, the goal that is no longer the new priority. And I think that the place that I've really tried to explore in some of the thought leadership that you described was how do we in the financial advice field develop a better set of skills that we can track the changing priorities and get to where our clients really are and to be able to more dynamically bring some of our skills and our resources and our talents to bear to be able to get them better outcomes at whatever their new location is along their storyline. That's a
Yeah.
lot of this thought about priorities.